And unfortunately, like yesterday, I think our keynote speaker played the harmonica. Were you guys around for that? Yeah, I don't have a harmonica today. I've got my electric guitar. Ready? Bring it in. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm going to talk today about retail mobile commerce, what you need to know and what you don't. And I thought about this presentation, given the fact that many of us who are involved in leading e-commerce and mobile strategy within large retail and multi-channel companies have a lot of challenges, a lot of opportunities, but a lot of challenges. So I thought I'd walk people through the things that you need to know, the things that you don't need to know, and about 3 to 4 areas that I think are really important for a mobile strategy. So let me talk a little bit introduce myself real quickly. For the last couple years, I've been running global e-commerce for Office Depot, which is number 5 on the internet retail list, one of the largest e-commerce companies in the world with about $4.1 billion in global e-commerce sales. I'm also responsible for the mobile strategy as well for them over the last couple years. Prior to that, I was Senior Vice President with Premier Farnell, which is one of the largest multi-channel electronic component companies based in London. And I was responsible for North American marketing as well as their e-commerce business. I've been with a number of brands through the years. The 4 areas that, in my background, that I really focus on is mobile commerce strategy, particularly very recently, website experience roadmap, developing great capabilities for large organizations, working in the offline and online channels to help drive the omni-channel experience, and then certainly from a P&L perspective and managing the business, it's always been a part of my background. So I've seen a lot, and certainly I've continued to see the pace grow within the retail space. The agenda today is really centered around a couple things. I want to talk about some of the statistics that we're all seeing in the market, but then focus on some of the things that you need to know as a retailer or a multi-channel distribution company today in order to drive your mobile initiative. And there's about 4 areas that I think are really important to incorporate inside your mobile strategy, and also talk to you about what you don't need to worry about, and certainly some takeaways at the end. Okay? So, mobile madness. I'm a big basketball fan, so a little takeoff on March Madness. But it is really, really madness out there relative to the mobile space. And the facts are clearly staggering. What's challenging, though, in some cases, is that us as mobile marketeers today are all gung-ho about what the future is and what it's going to bring. But guess what? Sometimes up in the boardroom, it's not always the same. In fact, I was in a meeting a couple years ago, and we had a board member that stood up and said, look, we shouldn't invest in mobile technology. In fact, 3 years from now, we won't sell any more of our stuff through mobile than we do today. And so, although there's this type of comment that sometimes can kind of rivet through a very inspired and innovative group of talented individuals wanting to change the world within a retail organization, you've got to be able to manage the fact that mobile is still one piece of the total digital relationship that an organization has with its customers. The good news is that the statistics tell us that this is going to stay for a long time. Mobile transactions are actually expected to grow exponentially and exceed $1 trillion by 2015. This was a quote that just came from Yankee Group very recently, a few weeks ago. So the momentum is there, right? And that's the reason we're all here. So a couple of things to think about when we look at mobile and we look at the stats. Clearly, the growth is going to be there in terms of where we see mobile commerce. But I think there's 2 important things that you need to consider when you're presenting mobile within your organizations and talking about what it means. First of all, many companies will talk about what their strategy is. Is it our strategy? Is it not our strategy? The beautiful thing about mobile, it's our customer strategy. Customers are voting. They're saying, guess what? We want to engage your brand through a mobile device. So the beautiful thing is, it's all about the customer. So if you're going to be responsive as a brand, make sure that you've got the resource and the investment aligned against what the customer wants. The second piece is, mobile, as we've heard before, it's a very personal device. If you look at the stats of what people are using smartphones for, it's well beyond commerce, right? It's TV, it's social communication, it's email, it's literally everything. It's becoming a part of your body, as we've seen in some examples. So when you think about your customers voting, and your customers using this device, guess what? You've got to be able to align your e-commerce and mobile strategy against those customers using those devices, okay? So there's clearly no dot-com bust going on here, okay? You'll think a look at by 2014, mobile internet usage is going to overtake that of a desktop. In fact, you look at the PC industry today, and desktops are literally falling off the table. There's going to be no market for those things as we move forward. Smartphone sales are continuing to skyrocket. Tablet usage in this country and globally is rapidly growing, 70 to 100%, and mobile ed spend is going to reach over $3 billion in a very short period of time. So the numbers are there, and I think that spells a lot of good things for the future. But what are the things that are really important within a multi-channel business that you're a part of, within a retail organization that you're a part of, when you've been given the task of driving a mobile strategy and changing the face of the company? Okay? 3 things. You've got to drive engagement with your customer. You've got to be able to sell the return on investment strategy to the senior most executives in the company. And you've got to maintain a strong testing methodology about how you deliver new capabilities to market. So from an engagement perspective, the question's always been, what do we offer? Mobile web, smartphone, tablet? I say yes, all 3. Because I think in today's age, you've got to be able to engage your customer on all the different devices and platforms that continue to emerge. So you can leverage some of the technology you've built. In the past, we built an in-house mobile application services environment that we can port across multiple devices. But each device has its own unique aspect to it. So my advice is build your strategy around the tablet, smartphone, and of course the mobile web, which I think is having a resurgence in the market relative to where people are shopping. Entertainment and engagement, really important to think about. You've got to add convenience to your customer shopping experience. You've got to make your app or your mobile experience personal. You've got to make it fun, really important. Because at the end of the day, the mobile's becoming the front door to your brand. You know, when they talk about omni-channel strategies, okay, the fact is that, and I'll talk about this, but customers are looking at multiple channels, and whatever channel they engage you at first is their first impression, right? So if your mobile experience is not first rate, that's the experience your customer is going to take away when they think of your brand. Now, from return on investment, we all need money to make this happen. We need resources to make this happen, right? Starts at the top, gain executive buy-in. Make sure the people running the business also see an alignment with where you're at relative to mobile. Make sure that you can identify in the organization some key small teams that can help work on these projects. Big headline is, most organizations, 90% of them, don't have large teams to support mobile. You know, if you look here at Walmart Labs, you look at Amazon in Seattle, huge, huge teams, right? Dedicated to developing their own dedicated mobile applications. But most companies don't have that. So identify a couple of those folks that you want to use that. Also, make sure that you think cross-functionally. Make sure that there's other people in the organization that are bought into the mobile strategy. Or else you start to see one group developing mobile and the other group developing mobile. Well, who owns it? Okay, so make sure that you've got cross-functional buy-in. From a return on investment perspective, the question is, how are we going to invest in the technology? How much money do we need? Okay. Well, hey, we don't have a lot of in-house people, so we need to hire more mobile developers. My advice has been is to use a blend. You know, phenomenal external third-party resources out there today. Many of you are with some of those companies. I've always worked with a blend, both in-house and external, to help develop the application to get them to market. So there's an internal cost and an external cost that's going to be required. And then realistically, from a return on investment perspective, when you're trying to pitch for more investment, don't just think in terms of the sales it's going to drive, because you might be underwhelmed. Given where mobile's influence is, it's not just about the sales. It's about the experience that it can drive and improvements. For example, in retail, mobile can have a huge impact on the store assist capability. So taking a smartphone application, applying it into a tablet, into store, can actually help your store personnel work with customers. That reduces congestion at the cash out counter. It helps to improve the service relationship in the store. A number of different elements outside of just sales can help support the return on investment to go after it. So I think it's really important to think about that. And overall, it's really important to think in your return on investment what it does to the brand. So think of the reverse side. If you don't have the right experience, what do people think when they come to your brand and they don't see a great mobile experience? It has an impact on retention. So there again is another element to the return on investment puzzle. And then testing I'm going to get into a little bit, but I think the rigor that you put around testing is really important in the mobile environment. We took a a lot of our testing methodology from our website, and we applied it to a mobile concept. And that's really, really critical. So usability. The one thing I'm going to call out is the CSAT score, so customer satisfaction. Once again, a new metric to be able to drive success for your mobile initiative. It's not always about the sales. If the experience is right, your customers will be happy and you'll reduce defection. So having high CSAT scores is a great measurement of your mobile initiative. And if you don't have CSAT scores or you don't have metrics in the company to do that, there's some great outside services you can use. You could use 4C and some other great companies that are really good at understanding how influential your mobile opportunity is to your customers from a customer satisfaction perspective. Okay? So I want to talk about is some key elements that I think are critical to the mobile strategy. So you're charged now with developing the mobile strategy or to enhance the current platform. It's all about the customer experience, right? Engaging your customers, okay? I think there's three elements that are really important in doing this. One is usability, two is testing, and then three is the influence mobile has on your brand. So from a usability perspective, make sure that the screen design, the look and feel of the application has some real-world customers testing it. Because you may have some great ideas, your vendor may have some great ideas, but if you don't use either outside, internal usability testing, the experience itself may not be what you thought it would be. So having that validation point is really key. The other thing to help drive the mobile initiative is from an A/B testing perspective. Make sure that you can show some financial benefits for what you delivered prior to expanding it and rolling it out to the market. A lot of times we have to commit to some numbers in terms of what mobile's going to do for the business, and you're accountable for that. So make sure that you have some A/B testing methodology in the business that you can see what the financial benefits are before you go to a full rollout or move it into production. And the other aspect is what it's doing to the brand, right? Because it's so visible, okay, there's a high sensitivity to the way it look and feel of your mobile app and how it correlates to your brand of your company. So if you're a high brand retailer like a Saks or a Neiman's, right, a customer expects to go to the mobile site and see something really special, really high end. If it doesn't meet that bar, all of a sudden, the customer, there's a disconnect in how they perceive you as a company. So the experience is really, really important in terms of its impact to your brand in the short term, because the user reviews that you'll get are very visible right away, okay? So let me talk about some of the companies that I think are doing it really well from a customer experience perspective, and some examples that I like. First, I was going to turn to one quick quote I like from Michael Kanzawa, who wrote, "Big ideas to big results." You know, mobile devices are now a core part of the customer's daily life and therefore potentially a core part of almost any customer experience. I think getting back to it, it's a personal device, right? You're carrying it with you. That means that experience from your brand is going to be very personal to the end user as well, so make sure it's right. Okay? Good example, we all know Amazon. They've really created expertise in the transaction checkout experience. And they know today that each click you make within their website, okay, drops 50% of the traffic each time you go down that path. So in developing their capabilities and their experience in mobile, they really kept this in mind, and they took something that was patented, their one-click checkout, and they applied it to their mobile application. I'm sure many of you have bought from Amazon. When you use one-click checkout in mobile, the next thing you get in your email is a ship confirmation. It's that easy. They also recognize that some of the core competencies of their business around, call it a predatory pricing approach, and the showrooming impact that people have when they're using retail today to kind of go in and then check price through Amazon, they've created a dedicated price scan application that really enables the customer the kind of very, very simple way to kind of check price and check out on their mobile app. So a great transaction experience, you know, is something that they've demonstrated and have executed on extremely well. Other thing that's important, understanding the solutions, the needs that your customers have when walking into the store. Home Depot has done a great job, you know, in putting together special product selection tools. They understand that when customers are at home or in their office, they're doing things prior to walking into the store, like measuring, calculating, looking at the size of a bolt before they need to walk into the store, taking pictures of different parts of their house, before they walk into the store. Home Depot recognizes that, and they put all sorts of tools and capabilities into their experience. I think, once again, a great way to create a solution for your customers. They understand that their customers' biggest challenge is sizing and coming into the store. They don't want to drive a return. So they've done a great job with their tools. In fact, Lowe's has done a similar type of approach. They've actually recently incorporated their MyLowe's capability, which is something they've been promoting pretty heavily and developed about a year and a half ago, which is a single gateway for people to log into and see their transactions and purchases from multiple channels. They just loaded that into their smartphone application, but they also incorporate great scanning capabilities, video demonstration, a superb retail location system, and they've put that all in to create a fantastic array of shopping tools. So something to think about when you're thinking about the experience of what you want your customers to have. Think about the possible solutions to some of the problems they have in buying with you, and how you can reconfigure that online. Okay? Then there's really innovative stuff, right? Sephora's done a phenomenal job. They understand that they'd love their customers to basically come in and watch a cosmetologist putting on makeup. Well, they've done something that their e-commerce site can't do, and that's using the iPad to create a mirroring capability while watching video of somebody applying makeup. So they've created this utility because they recognize that that's the experience that occurs in the store. So let's go ahead and try to make that happen in an iPad application. It's something that's been very, very successful. So finding solutions to shopping challenges, and considering how they can be applied in a mobile environment is a great way to create a superb experience for the customer and differentiate yourself and differentiate the brand. Okay? So customer experience, really important part of the mobile strategy. There's another really important part, and that's called Buy Anywhere, Sell Anywhere. I call it BASA. Okay? It's all about the omni-channel experience. And we know today that customers want to shop multiple channels. They want to touch mobile, they're going to go online to do research, and they're going to walk into your store. And I think it's really important to address the omni-channel experience in the mobile strategy. Really, really critical. But there's 3 areas that are really important to execute that type of experience. Okay? So when you think about Buy Anywhere, Sell Anywhere, the first bucket is you got to think store, web, and mobile first. Capabilities that you have on your web should be interchangeable online in a mobile environment, and should also be available in the store. Okay? So you think about Walmart with their site-to-store capability. Okay? Actually a very complex process. The technology piece of it actually is fairly easy. But to actually execute the experience takes multiple components. So as a matter of fact, I heard a stat the other day that, I don't know if anyone's the audience from Walmart, but I heard that half of the $3 billion they do in web sales comes from their ship-to-store opportunity. And they continue to invest even more into this strategy because they recognize that the customer today is shopping and researching online before they walk into the store. In order to execute that strategy, you need to have product shipping from third-party manufacturers. You've got to take product from Walmart distribution centers, and you've got to make it all arrive at the same time at the store, so when the customer walks in, it's available. There's a huge operational logistics hurdle to get around. So if you're the guy developing this new mobile capability, and it has a lot of complex aspects to it, make sure that you have the operational plan in place in order to pull it off. Take it one step further. If you walk into a store and you've got the mobile app and it's got capabilities on it, how many times do you ask the store clerk how this works? Or can I redeem these rewards off my mobile phone? And they say, oh, I'm not quite familiar with that. So the education and training all the way through the retail organization is really important. So these are other elements of the mobile strategy that you've got to keep in mind and be able to drive forward. Because it's not just about the technology. So it's the operations, and it's the education of the people within the chain to understand how to use the technology. So some good examples of some folks. I think we've all seen how Apple has really innovated the retail store visit. I think their app has done a fantastic job in being able to reserve time at a Genius Bar. You think about that simple idea of how many retailers today could deploy that capability, not just from a mobile device, but actually the operational aspects of setting it up in store. They really help and really help save customers time. but they're improving the service experience because they're saying you're going to have a dedicated resource available to help you on the problem that you have. They're also reducing checkout congestion by being able to manage the queuing up of people in their stores. I could think of countless retail companies who could deploy this type of strategy through mobile, but aren't today, because actually some of the logistics around it can be fairly challenging. But I think they've done an excellent job in being able to redefine the retail experience to work with their products. Another simple example, of a buy anywhere, sell anywhere approach, right? Boarding passes, how easy, right? Convert people to mobile, helps save customers time. Airports are stressful enough. Everyone's got a smartphone device. So we're seeing airlines moving in this direction to be able to use everything electronic and to move through the airport to help provide convenience. It also creates a great connection with the brand. So another great example of a buy anywhere omni-channel strategy, but from an airline's perspective, okay? This one I love because when you think about the cumbersome process of prescription renewal, Walgreens has leveraged their fantastic logistics system for prescription refills and actually made it enabled on a mobile device to the point where you can scan a bottle, and if you're out of your prescriptions, their system automatically calls your physician, gets a renewal, and then you get an alert through your mobile device to pick it up. Fantastic demonstration of omni-channel experience blending mobile with their retail infrastructure and logistics infrastructure. They also have a pill reminder capability as well that's built into it. So once again, taking something that your organization already has and figuring out how to enable it through mobile can all of a sudden become one of the most differentiated services that your company can have. So great example there. Love these guys as well. I think the interesting thing about remote deposit is what Chase has been pushing the boundaries on this, redefining the store experience in mobile. How many retail companies do you know that are actually saying to their customers, you know what, don't come into our store, don't come into our branch, just handle that check deposit yourself at your home, okay? So in my opinion, they've leveraged a fantastic capability in remote deposit, which has finally gotten mature into the market. And they've created an amazing customer convenience, but they're challenging some of their own sacred cows. I mean, branches were created to bring people in for a checking account, but ultimately to sell mortgages, loans, and other products. They're saying, you know what, you don't need to do that. Just deposit the money in your own device. They've also challenged some of the sacred cows around compliance. So they've gotten their technology so good that, they feel that the fraud impact to having individuals deposit checks, they've already figured it out. So they've created something that's so simple in a smartphone device, but yet so useful, that I think they're really defining what I would call the buy anywhere, sell anywhere type idea. One that's close to my heart, okay, one that I built about 1.5 years ago. We have a very large commercial business. Office Depot does about $2.5 billion selling to large corporations, office supplies. And their website capability allows administrators within businesses to actually set procurement limits for people within the organization so that they don't spend more than they have to. And this is one of the biggest features of their e-commerce capability. We thought it would be great to talk to customers about what's one of the biggest benefits they could get through mobile. And they said to us, boy, we're never at our desk. So when we show up at our desk, we got 100 emails from people around the company wanting to get approvals on their orders. If you could just put it in a remote environment or mobile environment, it would be fantastic. So we created the purchase and approval capability through a smartphone device. They're still the only one that has that capability. Grainger, Staples, the other ones, has not been able to move this capability to mobile like Depot has. But this has really enabled customers to approve, release, disapprove orders on the fly. Once again, a great way to kind of move from e-commerce to mobile and create more convenience for the customer. Okay? So buy anywhere, sell anywhere. Make sure it's a core part of your strategy, but recognize that it's not just about the technology. It's the operations aspect, it's the training component to really make these capabilities work and be big in the market. But obviously, we have to create digital loyalists, right? We have to get people to stay with our business. And I think from a mobile context, I think creating digital loyalists is really important, and mobile can really drive the type of stickiness we need. So 3 areas that I think are critical to how mobile can create some digital loyalty. One is retention. Okay, so in today's environment, economic environment, attrition rates are moving faster than new customer acquisition. Okay? So as the market tightens up, competition becomes tougher, it's tougher to keep a customer, particularly as retailers move to the online channel. Acquisition, on the other hand, is no longer cheap. You know, when you talk about the stakes to compete in a pay-per-click environment with Google, or to even invest in campaigns through Facebook, very expensive, you know. So you've got to be able to really capitalize and get the return on that money. And then from a rewards perspective, how do you reward customers? What are the things that are important to them that would encourage them to buy again? So these are the 3 big things that really help drive the digital loyalty strategy for your mobile campaigns. I think some customers that are examples of folks that are doing it well, certainly Starbucks, we've used their mobile app, many of you have in the audience. I think outside of just free coffee, their pay via app capability and developing a stored value system within a closed loop environment has really demonstrated their knowledge and their capabilities in the mobile space. And they recognize that for customers, it's really cool to pay with their app. And so I heard a statistic that I think Starbucks is actually conducting the most online sales for any mobile company right now, based on the amount of money that they're storing in their Starbucks app today. It's also cool because you can get new stuff from them. But their technology has enabled their rewards program to be fully integrated to the point where if you're gaining stars and you're getting a free discount on syrup, that the system automatically takes that price out of your coffee purchase at checkout. It's amazing. But it's a good loyalty program, but fully integrated and owned by Starbucks. Another great example, I think, of a company who's done it well is Best Buy. I think they started very heavily with a direct mail program and an in-store program for the Reward Zone program, loyalty program, but they've integrated it very well into the mobile environment so that they really reinforce the brand, whether you're external or inside the store, becomes a great way to earn points, you know, for your electronic products. And I think they've executed that extremely well. The other big one, which is recently in the news, is the Shop Your Way Rewards program. You know, I think Eddie Lampert, literally on May 2nd, came out and said Sears is planning to invest millions of dollars in their Shop Your Way Rewards program. Why? It's a big investment for Sears, and it's available in a mobile app across all of their brands. So it brings their brands together. You can earn points, both online, in the store, at checkout, and so it's a great program. Once again, a closed-loop system. They own it, they own the technology, and they're really starting to invest more in it. But if you don't have that kind of infrastructure, you can rely on, I call it syndicated reward programs. And there's some really cool stuff that's out there. So if you look at Shopkick, you know, certain things that Groupon is doing, Foursquare, you can participate in these programs as a brand, right? I think the Placecast Shop Alerts are one of the coolest I've seen, which gives you offers and deals based on your proximity to a retail store that you're walking by on your mobile device. So you walk by a cool store and all of a sudden you get a text message on your phone that's saying, hey, you're walking by Macy's. You're now eligible for a 10% discount. This stuff is really innovative. I think that the nice thing is you could participate in it. You buy the systems from them. But I think it's important to monitor the return on investment. And by all means, promote the thing. It's incredible to me how many retailers are participating in programs where they don't promote it throughout their network, throughout their promotional themes. I think it's important to let people know you're in these programs. But syndicated reward programs are a great way to go and encourage utilizing them. So we talked a little bit about digital loyalists, okay? I think one of the other critical aspects to the mobile strategy is differentiating with content. And yes, the old world was content is king. Guess what? It's still king. Now, most of my experience over the last year and a half has been investing in content for the web, okay? And testing a whole range of different capabilities to establish credibility for customers, to try to drive improved conversion rates and improve revenue per session rates on the web, okay? Content is absolutely a great investment, and it's one that I think can have big impact to your overall business and should be applied in a mobile context. So I think there's 3 areas that you have to think about with content, okay? One is content can help you establish credibility. If your product line today is a commodity line that's subject to a lot of price transparency on the web, I mean, obviously with the web there's no switching costs, so people are constantly price shopping your SKUs. Establishing content to create a kind of a credibility for your business is really important. Also using content to create personalization, okay? Really, really important element of the content strategy. And certainly if you can create a destination with content, you think about Match.com and of course Facebook. About 3 years ago, I was part of a team that launched Element14.com, which was actually the first social community built for electronic design engineers in the electronic components industry. It's a viable brand today, available on the web. It was a tool, content strategy, to help get techie electronic design engineers to talk on a peer-to-peer basis, get information about what components to use in the latest designs they were creating. So using content as a destination is a fantastic way to go. It can drive some low-cost acquisition, but it has to be managed. So some examples of great ways to leverage content. So video commerce. We tested a lot of this a couple years ago. Video commerce, if you think about YouTube being the #2 search engine in the world, people love to use video today, right? So you think about Home Depot, Lowe's, Sephora, Bed Bath & Beyond, Tiger Direct. These are all companies that are using and leveraging video commerce extremely well. It provides powerful demonstration of the product. It can actually be funded by the manufacturer, which is nice, so you don't have to pay for it all out of pocket, okay? And what it really does well is it indexes on SEO really well. So you get huge benefits in terms of sell-through when people see your product video out there. Also, some companies are integrating it mobile and store very well. So Bed Bath & Beyond today, if you use their mobile app, when you go in the store, you'll see the video. And when you go to the shelf level, you'll see little displays that are in front of the product that actually use the same video. So you can actually, without having a salesperson there, you can get a sense of what the product does, okay? Tiger Direct is doing the same thing, okay? You walk in their stores, they have touch screens in front of their camera displays and other things that you can press and see videos in terms of how the product's used, okay? You got to make sure you check your compatibility, make sure that it's available and can be viewed on an iPad, and you don't get that nasty, you need a flash player to view this. So it's really important that you look at that aspect of it, but video commerce is a fantastic content strategy for your mobile device. The other one's product recommendations. Staples, Best Buy, Walmart have all incorporated this pretty heavily. Product recommendations, particularly that are unique to your buying patterns or to your click stream on the mobile device, can impact your cross-sells and upsells by 2 to 15%, on a revenue per session basis. We've all seen kind of customers that bought A also bought, B. Today you can offer that through a mobile device. You can even monetize it. So in many cases, that content strategy will allow you to drive advertising revenue from other advertisers that want to be on the network that you're streaming through. So it's a great capability to be able to add and offset the cost of buying the technology. And the technology can cost over $1 million to bring in and run. So from a mobile perspective, it's a must. And then where I think it's really going to get interesting is on these socially driven recommendations. So Shoppycat with Walmart, which is a really cool development of really leveraging all of the likes that you're pinging and the connections with Facebook, but bringing the recommendations component into that. And I think we're going to start to see folks like Facebook really leveraging their insights data. They call it their insights data, which is all the stuff they've got about us on their site, leveraging that more to help drive the shopping relationship on mobile. So I think those capabilities are going to be even more pronounced in the next couple of years. User reviews have been around for a long time, but I'll tell you, they absolutely work. When we launched mobile for the first time, that was the first feedback we got from customers. Where are the user reviews? Where are the star ratings? So really important to incorporate that. I think QVC, Guitar Center, Staples incorporates this really well. But you've got to make sure that your products have some peer review component to it. It absolutely drives high conversion, 6 to 7% improvement in conversion rates when you have reviews versus not. So when people are looking on a mobile device, they want to quickly see what the quality of the product, what people have reviewed it for. I wouldn't miss that out. And then social links, I think, are really important. I think these continue to grow, certainly with Pinterest having the pin it tags now on there to be able to tag it right to your bulletin board. Like has become kind of standard out there for most mobile product pages. And then the +1, we'll see where Google goes with that. But those are really important to incorporate into your content strategy in your mobile device. Okay? So those are some of the key things that I think are really important to think about when you're driving or enhancing your mobile strategy for your company, particularly within a retail organization or a multi-channel distribution business. But I think there's some things that you don't need to worry about. There's a lot to overwhelm you, but I think there's some things that, and there's a lot of information, but there's a couple things that I think are important, but probably not central to moving forward. One is being on the bleeding edge. You know, I think we've seen examples of capabilities today that are really, really far out there. I think of priority triangle. The stuff up at the way top is the really bleeding edge stuff, but you don't want your whole mobile strategy resting on the latest and greatest, newest technology. I think you want to make sure that what you deliver is right for your customers. And assuming that your customers are as engaged with the highest end technology out there, it's not always the case. So I think it's important to look at the tests that are going on around. Perfect point in case, F-commerce. You know what you heard of F-commerce? Never heard of Facebook commerce, okay? So 2 years ago, that was going to be the greatest craze, and there were articles around JCPenney invested a fortune into Facebook. They were going to build an e-commerce transaction engine inside of Facebook. There were several companies that followed, and all of a sudden, that was the buzzword. Everyone had to get into it. And they found that after they delivered it, no one wanted to shop on Facebook. So they abandoned the program. But it was an example of something where you're really out there. People were let alone just trying to figure out how to leverage Facebook into their whole marketing program. Developing the commerce transaction engine behind it really wasn't evolved. So you had some companies investing a lot into it, what I would kind of call the bleeding edge. But the companies that didn't follow and kind of watched what happened, I think we're in a better position. Resources. There's not enough in-house resources. You're not alone. A lot of companies don't have a lot of in-house resources. So third party works great. Find a good partner. How to pitch the ROI on transactions alone. I'd say don't. You've got to blend the ROI transactions with the impact to the brand and what it's going to do to the overall customer satisfaction scores of the company. Will have a huge impact on your ability to kind of move projects forward and to get the initiative going. How to pitch a content investment. You know, it's about retention. I've had some people ask, well, how do you pitch for growth and how do we pitch a $500,000 investment in video commerce for the business? Pitch it around retention. You know, if you look at the retention rates of your business today, it's more important to keep those customers sometimes than even to acquire new ones, because the new ones are expensive. In many cases, if they're coming through paid search, they're fleeting. You know, they come in, we call them one and dones. They come in and they leave. But if you keep those customers past a second, third, and fourth transaction, your profitability and your growth really starts to strengthen. So pitch it around retention. It's a good benefit. And then how to implement mobile payments. Look, it's going to get easier. Right now, there's a lot of different solutions out there, you know, whether the wallet's going to take hold from consumers, near-field communication, where that ultimately goes and how that sticks with retailers. PayPal's developing some great tools today for the retailer. I think they're going to be launching a press release in the next couple of weeks on some new partners that they're working with on some innovative payment capabilities, both on mobile and at the store. So keep in mind that it's going to get easier. Okay? And finally, some takeaways. Okay? You've got to address mobile now. It's the door to your brand. So if you don't have the core strategy into your business today, start creating it and putting some direction around it. Offer your customers several integrated options. As I mentioned before, whether it's smartphone, whether it's tablet, mobile web, make sure there's some consistency. Get the organization and the executive buy-in, really, really critical. Okay? Because once you've got that, then it's a lot easier to move forward and to get additional investment to go faster. Make sure you assemble the right team. Find some real passionate champions into the business. And some of those individuals, you know, are sometimes some developers that have come into the business. They've got mobile capabilities. Find those folks fast and put them into a room and say, can you help us drive this forward? You're going to act, you're going to fail on this, you're going to learn, and then you're going to succeed. It's just the natural nature of this business, which keeps changing all the time. And then once again, mobile is not just about the sales, but it's really about the total brand experience that mobile brings to a retailer or a large multi-channel company. Okay? So those are some of the keys that I think are really important to think about, and I'd certainly be available for any questions that you have.